All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm Dr. Dustin Boston here with Dr. Nate Merhote and a very special guest. This is The Vital Wire. All right, Jena Marx.
Woohoo.
Welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, thanks for coming in and doing this with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're super excited to have you. I love your story, and I'm going to let you tell it. I'm not going to go too far into it. I like to steal thunder sometimes, as I've been told, but I'll let you tell the story. Dr. Nate here has connected all of us together over the course of time. So first of all, just give us a little bit of background on Jena. Give us all the things. Where'd you come from? Where did you grow up? How did you get to kind of where you are? And then we'll kind of navigate through the rest of your story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm a Missouri girl, not born here, but raised here.
Yeah.
I moved here when I was a baby.
Where were you born?
Just outside of New York, Pennsylvania. Yeah, then we moved very quickly down here, so I was a baby. So yeah, Missouri girl for sure, Midwest. And you know what? I grew up in dance, was always active, and I come from a family of musicians and pastors. Yeah. And so grew up in a way performing and being in front of people. My dad had a traveling children's ministry called Big Mike and Company. And so as a family, we traveled around all over the U.S. doing kids crusades and church stuff with him. And so so looking back, you know, I recognized from an early age, I was exposed to being in front of people, of course, watching my dad teach and educate. And so I feel like I've had that in my blood, and so it doesn't surprise me that as I got older and was choosing a career path that I also was going to be comfortable in front of people, helping people, and I just chose fitness as the tool to do it. And so growing up, being in dance, I was always kind of fit and active, and knew that when I hit high school, I noticed that I had a aptitude for learning science stuff and about the body. So anatomy and physiology, although it was a hard class, was one of my favorites. Yeah. And it sparked that interest of like, man, I'm really interested in how the body works and what it can do. And that, I think that's kind of what gave me that early spark to get into fitness, although I didn't know I was going to start a career in fitness and nutrition because of that interest in how the body worked. And then I think nutrition a lot too came from my mom went through breast cancer when I was in high school. Oh, wow. And I think just out of my own, just coping with my own just fear and insecurity about what's going on with her, I saw her changing her eating habits. And so I started studying nutrition and how food in our body can be hurtful or helpful. And so it wasn't long after that, after I graduated, that I just continued that search and that study of nutrition and the body, and found myself just trying to stay in shape after I quit dance and moved out of the high school dancing arena. I need to go to the gym to stay in shape, So
it's not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, and so I just found myself in opportunities to start teaching classes and being asked like, hey, you do really great in this class. Do you think you could teach it? And I was like, yeah, I think I could. and so that's how I kind of parlayed into fitness. But I took those early kind of childhood experiences of being in front of people and watching my dad teach, and then my interest in nutrition and the importance of, especially in the role of women's health, the importance of that. I think that all came together to create me now as a coach and a trainer, especially as I've changed all of my training to be focused on women.
And you created, so what is it that you've created?
So G.I. Jane has been my passion project of the last almost 4 years. Being a trainer since I was 20 in 2005 is when I really started training in the industry, different jobs, and so going through all the ranks of just being a fitness instructor to then a certified personal trainer, and then adding in nutrition stuff, working for big box gyms, being independent contractor at more like boutique style gyms and training facilities, and then owning my own thing. And so the GI Janes was a program that was built out of just a need for women to start lifting weights. And after being a trainer for so long, and I would say the bulk of my training and the style of classes that we did were a lot of boot camp stuff, high HIIT or cardio boot camp stuff, and so I trained myself in that way. And it wasn't until I read a book called Thinner, Leaner, Stronger by Mike Matthews that it turned me on to almost start weightlifting a bit more. And so I had trained myself for about a year before I developed the Jane program. I changed how I trained myself. I dropped down all of the boot camp style training and focused on heavy lifting. And within that, I started to feel great immediately, but after that first year, I saw changes in my physique and my body and my muscle tone and mass that I hadn't seen despite all the earlier efforts towards having a healthy body and fitness and all of that through the other styles of training. And so it was just this light bulb moment of, I want to do this. I have to share this with other women. And I felt a little bit of like a fake. Here I was training myself in this way, and then yet I'm going and teaching these classes that are completely opposite of that. And so the Jane program, I think, was born out of just that. I didn't know I was going to create a you're doing your thing, you're making changes in your life, and just through my own practice of what I was getting out of that style of training, I said, okay, this is all I want to do. And then it was at the end of 2020, so the pandemic, I just kind of hit a place in the work that I was doing that I needed to find some more revenue. I just needed to do something to build the business that I was in. And I'd had this idea cooking with a women's group that was strength training based because of my own training I was doing.
Right.
And, I just said, well, now's the time to do it. We kicked it off, and it just went so amazingly.
That's
I started with 3 small group squads. So G.I. Jane is small group weightlifting training. And I started with 3 squads of 15 total girls in January 21. And then over the years, we've just grown to 8 to 9 squads and up to over 50 girls in the program. So that is what I do. That is what I built. I built a place for women. I say we build women up. I built a program that focuses on weightlifting and strength training. As we age, women, we lose our muscle mass. And if you're not doing something to combat that, when we lose our muscle mass, our muscles' strength, shape, and function goes with it. And so as I've gotten older, I can see that in my own body, that the training that I did earlier on or the diet that I kept earlier on doesn't serve me the same way as I've gotten a little bit older. And so I see that, and I see it in my mom who's aging. I see that muscle mass changing in the women that I know that are getting older around me. And so it's just an obvious, yes, this is something that we have to work on. So I created a space that women can come, and I love to cater to beginners. I like that women can come to me not having any gym experience at all, and I'll teach them from the ground up. And then outside of just the strength training, G.I. Jane, it's a lifestyle coaching program as well. And so we're working on other lifestyle factors that will help improve your health.
Yeah, definitely a comprehensive approach is what she takes, and that's why I really like working with her. And we've known each other for a couple years, and we've worked with a lot of the same clients. The clients that Jena has that I've seen are different, and what I mean by that is that one, I don't have to, in a sense, work as hard to explain certain things because she's already set the foundation. And I want you to touch a little bit about on that. Yes, you do strength training and you kind of focus on that and the importance of that. But what other components are you adding in, like you said, from starting people from scratch that have never done anything? What are you teaching them that they're not necessarily getting somewhere else? Or someone that's been in fitness for a really long time and programs and done stuff, but you see them and then you start changing things and making positive impact on their health and their lifestyle. What are you doing different in your program that they're not necessarily getting somewhere else?
I have tried to develop Jane's as close to personal training feel, but in a small group setting as possible. So I think that's where I start. When you are not in a big, busy, loud, fast-moving class with 20 to 30 people at the same time, as my background as a personal trainer, and also teaching those types of classes, you learn that you just try to do your best. You make sure that no one's doing anything horribly wrong or that's going to hurt themselves, but you don't have the time or the space to really coach them through the movement pattern or the foundation of how to brace and breathe. So the Jane program allows me to do that. any new Jane recruit coming in, we start with a basic training on-ramp, and that's 4 sessions with me, kind of one-on-one, to break down the movement patterns that we use in Janes, and start to, from the ground up, really see how they individually move, any of their maybe dysfunctional movement patterns. We talk about breathing and bracing, so how to support your body. And so much of it just starts with the core. And I say core, and people think abs are like right here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, breathing and bracing is that 360-degree idea of supporting your body. And when we're weak here, it forces things outside of the core to get tight or to overcompensate. And so just seeing so many issues arise from a weak core or inability to connect to it because breathing, it hasn't been taught, that's where we start. So I start from the base level of how to breathe and brace, how to feel the body, and then looking at each individual person's movement patterns, and then seeing what we can correct to make them move as good as possible. And then as we get them into the Jane program, although we're called the GI Jane Barbell Club, a lot of you don't start with the barbell. I think of the barbell as like, if you think of a pyramid, the barbell moves are at the pinnacle, the top of the movement pyramid. So each Jane will start at whatever level that we assess them to start at, of course, but the barbell is not force-fed. I treat each person as an individual, and we start them in a, of course, safe. It's my job to keep everybody 100% safe. And I love my injury, record is great because there's not really many injuries in Janes, because you are able to focus and move at a slightly slower pace and still, intense, and you're working hard, but it gives you the space to really feel what the body is doing and focus on the form instead of just, okay, 30 seconds, you're working, bell, move to the next station, go. So I think that's where there's a big difference between what I'm able to offer in my space compared to other fitness areas out there.
Yeah, to speak on that, definitely the people that I've worked with that she's also worked with, when there is an injury and I'm seeing it, it's usually not a severe injury that we're dealing with. So usually the recommendation is keep going to Jena. She's doing the right thing for you. And then let's just tweak a couple things here. There might be some other things that she doesn't or can't do that we can do here to facilitate that. But yeah, there's very few people. Actually, there's nobody I don't think I've ever worked with that has also seen you that I've said, you need to stop working out right now, or you need to cut back or do this differently. We have that trust where I was just like, Jena knows what she's doing.
That's great. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, motion is lotion. And what I've learned, one of the certifications I carry is PPSC, so Pain-Free Performance Specialist certification. And so part of my training and study is how to work around or with someone's pain. And of course, we're not talking about like injury pain. If it's something that needs to go see by a doctor, requires surgery, of course we refer out. But in terms of just that general achy knees, sore back, tight shoulder, helping to teach that person that we can actually still do quite a bit while we work around that, or you work with someone else to help fix what might be causing that. There's a whole lot that we can still do around it. And the Jane program itself is very modifiable. I just had to rewrite the program the other day for someone with a scaphoid wrist fracture. And so we're not doing any gripping, no lift, no holding of the hands. And I was like, well, your legs still work, right? She's like, you got me there. So I guess you're going to keep coming. And we just totally rewrote a program around her current needs. And being able to do that is, I think, sets me apart in a way as well. Instead of just dumbing everything down, it's like, well, I guess just don't do that. I can still create a whole program around what that person needs.
I also want to highlight that the nutritional component that you get into as well, whether it's on social media. I know you're having a lot of conversations with your Janes about that, and what is different when you're strength training versus, we talked a little bit earlier about the diets and things like that, but touch a little bit on that.
Yeah, so that's more like the lifestyle portion of the Jane program. So we teach the Janes the daily directives, 5 daily directives. And, nutrition is like the cornerstone of your body's ability to respond to the training stimulus that you're giving it. You can have a perfectly programmed out training plan, but if you're not eating to replenish or fuel the body to perform or recover from it, it could be doing a detriment. You could be doing a detriment to yourself. So the Jane program focuses on feeding yourself. Any girl coming to me, of course, if she isn't wanting to do strength training, she's coming to the wrong place. But so it's like, okay, so in the area of strength training, we're talking about eating a high protein diet. And what I've seen from the women first starting, when I first say, hey, let's get a grasp on how much protein you're eating in a day. So I have them kind of write down everything that they eat over a day or two. And it is so common that even women that think they're eating enough protein, very commonly 60 grams or less. And in the strength training world, women as we age, to protect our muscle mass, we need to be strength training and we need to be eating more protein. Your body cannot build muscle without protein. And so we talk about how much protein should you eat and how do we get that. And I've worked with lots of different dietary patterns. So vegetarians, vegans, pescatarians, meat eaters, everybody. But it does, no matter how you choose to eat, for whatever reason you eat that way, it doesn't negate the importance of protein. Right. And so we get the girls eating a little bit more. Different people need different levels of education or help or accountability on that, and I offer it. So the nutrition piece is outside of just the learning how to lift is probably the next biggest piece of the Jane puzzle. And then as we move through the daily directives, we talk about hydration and sleep and stress management, moving your body more. Yeah,
definitely. I literally had that conversation yesterday with the client, and I said the exact same thing. I was like, she's gone through our metabolic protocol the first 90 days. So what that looks like is they get a blood draw, and then we supplement accordingly and dose it to their needs based on their blood work. And then I'll go through and do some foundational nutrition conversation as well. And then that 90 days starts to close, and we retake the blood work. And lots of great change. She, just alone, she had lost 18 pounds, and now she's looking to go next steps. So first thing, what did I think of? I was like, eventually she's going to see Jena, first of all. But I told her, I was like, you need to start. I was like, just your homework tonight. And I told her this last night. I was like, your homework is go home, at least go through the weekend or go back about 5 days and log what you ate. And then I want you to go figure out everything that is protein on that list and add up every day's worth of grams of protein. And I said, I bet you're around 50 or 60. Yeah. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you're lower, honestly, because of the society and the world we live in today. And but it is so important. Protein is so huge, and the source of protein 100% matters. But it's funny you came up with that 60. It's like they're not even getting 60 grams of protein in. And I love what you're doing too in the Janes that you're training, because I think there's that transition point. A lot of people don't necessarily know how to lift, what to lift, and what that regimen should be, specifically to them. However, I think even on a broad perspective, that transition of adult to, premenopausal to, and as the hormones start to change and literally you become skinny fat, where your weight is, like your appearance is okay, but you start to lose that mold and that rigidness of the skin and the musculature, and you start to lose some of that muscle mass. That transition there is so important. And like you said, there's no other way to do it other than protein and doing some sort of lifting. We don't need to be Olympic lifting and training for, body sculpting competitions, but it's just like, and so with what I've kind of heard and experienced of what you do, it's like, it's such, you can have different clienteles within that, and younger and older and middle, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think there's a whole lot out there that's doing what you're doing. And I think as yours is still evolving too, I think you're figuring that out as well.
Yeah. And I think you have to, as a business owner, as anybody in a space that's going to be changing, just from what we learn about the body. We have to grow and develop with that. Also trying to teach the women that we were talking about earlier about just because you have weights in your hand and you're doing an exercise class, that you may not be getting the muscle growth or strengthening benefits from it. So I'm trying to teach women that strength training is training a specific way with weights. And a lot of what is out there is cardio with weights. So, and so you'll get a different effect from that than I think that goes into how you your nutrition plays into what you're doing as well.
It's like you burn calories and there's no hypertrophy or strength happening.
Or and I know this because I have taught those classes, and years of having the same members come loyally to your classes, and you say, okay, we're going to be doing, we're starting with thrusters and overhead alternating presses, and they go grab the same pair of dumbbells that they've been grabbing for a year, because to be able to do 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute of nonstop work through that circuit with that move, you're going to have to stay at a lighter weight. So it's a style of training. But with progressive overload, what the Janes do, that's how I program, you have measurable results. So even in your first, I program out 9 weeks. Every 9 weeks, the Janes get a new lifting program. From week 1 to week 9, with your notes, you'll be able to see when I started deadlifting, I had just the empty bar, and now I have 95 pounds on the bar within 9 weeks. And a lot of women I've seen do more than that. So that's the type of measurable strength gains. If you aren't seeing that in your current, if you think you're doing a strength training program and you couldn't write down every workout that you've done over the last number of weeks or a couple months and see measurable gains, you may not be strength training the way that you think you are.
Right.
And so I just want women to understand and kind of be able to manage what they're wanting to get out of their training, and kind of manage those expectations of what they're thinking they're going to get. So
that's something we talk about a lot here. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're saying it's like you got to listen and hear what their goals are, but they also need to understand what their goals are and what it really takes to achieve that. Like you said, if you're going to keep picking up the 7.5 pound dumbbells and you look over time and you went 7.5 all the way across the 9 weeks, does that speak to your goals, first of all? And if you're not getting the results you're seeing, it's like, there's conversations you can have, but being goal oriented. But I think in that too, like you're saying, is it's like sometimes they just don't know what it actually takes to achieve that.
Yeah.
And having somebody like you who understands that and does the impersonal training, for these women is huge, because it gives you the opportunity to help them understand that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to shift this a little bit, and you mentioned earlier about kind of walking the walk, talking the talk type of a thing. But tell us a little bit more about your journey. We've obviously seen you in the office for that. That's also kind of opened us up to more of who you are. But talk about how some of the things you've dealt with, what we've kind of done with that, as well as how it's also been able to keep you in the gym and not have to pull back with having to train all these ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm human too. I have some injuries and some things I'm working around. So I have been blessed to always have really great experiences and relationships with chiropractic care my whole life. I always say my mom believed in chiropractors, so we went with her, and it was something I always knew of and believed in, and knew can be helpful for the body. So for me, being in my training life here, and even going back into my dance years, took a toll on my knees, my hips. I taught kickboxing for 15 plus years, and all that rotational force on the hips and through the knees. So the things that you do, that you enjoy, that you're going after to keep your body healthy and strong and fit, can be the things that end up breaking you down a little bit if done too much. So those are the types of things that I've dealt with. Knee pain, tight hips, tight low back. A little over a year ago is when I was out on a walk. I walk every day, and I had this shooting pain down my leg, and my calf was getting really pumped and burning. I was limping on the way back from my walk. I mean, I was ready to flag a car down and try to get a car back. Something is wrong. Yeah. And so I should have come see you a year ago, but man, I just tried to go after it a little bit different ways. Having experiences with chiropractors in the past, I knew to work on my breathing, dead bugs, cobras, things to stretch and loosen out the low back just to relieve the pain. And those things definitely worked on my own. They worked in the past, and after a year, it just was not going away. And I was doing other, medical things to see if there was issues with my nerves or my veins. We did find a small blood clot in my leg that we cleared that, and then I was like, okay, the blood clot's gone, maybe that'll free. And I don't think that was true cause of that. And I think I saw some chiropractor thing online again, and when I found out what the program went through the thing, it was an online program. I was like, it's it's a little bit outside of my budget right now. It's like, maybe I should just go to the chiropractor. You know, I don't need to do some online program. How about I just go see someone in person? And just having the relationship I did with you in the past, and you having your new spot right here just up the street from the GI Janes, I was like, you know what, Nam, I'll come see you and let's see what you can do. And after that very first adjustment, I had relief of that sciatic pain down that left leg and was able to walk a bit more freely. Because that's why after that walk where my leg was affected, I couldn't walk really anymore, any long distances. That leg would act up and just burn and burn and burn. And so when you go from I was feeling my fit, most healthiest, strong self, and to being kind of like taken to my knees there in a while, it really shakes you, like your identity. I was like, who am I if I can't walk every day? And it was one of the first times that I felt any insecurity or doubt in my own abilities, thinking about if my boyfriend wanted to go for a hike or a walk. I'm like, I don't know, can I make it, or is my leg gonna get in the way? And I really struggled for a few months after that initial injury, or the onset of those more intense symptoms of who am I if I can't do what I do? And I think that really prompted me to do whatever it took to fix the problem, find out anything that I could do to help myself out.
That sounds familiar.
And so going back, I don't know why it took me a year to think of actually going to the chiropractor, to get such quick relief from that issue anyways. And then after your imaging, imaging was just that lifesaver of like, well, there you go. That's why it's like clear as day. And so I had just such a sense of hope to not only get that bit of relief right away from just a single manipulation adjustment, but then to have that game plan of, well, it's clear what's wrong, and now I have a game plan of how to get better.
Right. Yeah. And I think it shows that the comprehensive approach and the lifestyle that you live, and how, all the knowledge that you have, and you were doing a lot of the right things, and sometimes, just that little extra piece or whatever the analysis was that, we could figure certain things out. But just that relationship of multiple different providers, multiple different mindsets, multiple different approaches, because it's not always just one simple thing that can get you in the right direction. That's, I think, why you also set your Jane's program up that way, where there's multiple things that you're doing. It's not just about strength training and getting in the gym. Yeah. You have all these different things to make the person whole, in a sense.
Oh yeah, it has to be multifaceted.
And and that's one thing I really love about the program, I love about you, and kind of what you stand for.
Yeah. Well, what I've learned too is, here I am trying to build stronger bodies with these women, but if structurally something is off or wrong, it doesn't matter how great I can help coach their form or how perfectly I can design a program, if structurally something needs to be addressed. And so knowing that I can send them over to you guys, or encourage them to go see their chiropractor if they're already seeing one. It's like, go get this issue. So anything musculoskeletal, any pain in my body, it's like the very first thing I think of. In a lot of ways, I think of my chiropractor as my primary care, for what I do, the types of things that I'll feel in my body, where they're stemming from or coming from. That's what I think first to do. And so sharing that, or encouraging people to have you guys as a first line of defense or diagnosis in a way, or because then you can refer in the ways that you guys need to as well, if it's something outside of chiropractic care.
Exactly. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, there's a point in there too that I want everybody to kind of rehear and listen to. It's so easy, no matter what you're into, do whatever your line of work is, or your hobbies are, or what you're really into, passion projects, or what you're super educated on and about. It's so easy to, I can take care of it. Yeah. And it's okay to you're not even submitting. It's okay to be like, it's time to take care of this. Because, and you just said it best, it's like, proper structure is proper function. And to think that there's a one size fits all, or the misnomer of chiropractors doing all of the stretching and the this and the that, it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like those are all important things to do, but it can go back to structure. But listen to your body and realize that it's okay to get help. Not that you had a problem getting help, but I think that's by and large a lot of times what we see is, it's like, people, one, don't know how they're going to achieve the goal, but also another thing that you said, and this is just when we knew this coming into this, we knew this was all going to fit, but it's like, who am I then if I can't X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate goal. When we talk to people here and you see this automatically, you're looking through that lens. It's like, we want you to be the best version of you and want and love to do what you want and love to do as long as you want and love to do it. You heard me say that when I was when you came here for one of the things that we did. And that's really the truth of it, because if not, who are you and how do you feel? Like mentally, physically, relationally. There's so much that goes into, I can't go on my walk around the block with my husband or my fiance or boyfriend or my mom, or I can't pick up my baby, or, you know, I'm losing the strength and maybe I'm widowed and can't get my dog food out of the back of the trunk. It's like, if I can't do that and have to give up my dog, like, there's always another facet that I enjoy that you also see and pull out, because it's not that they want to lose weight or they want to get strong. Like, there's a driving force. So whatever those goals are, make sure you know, give into that and let that fuel you. But also, when you need help, get it. Like, don't wait. Don't wait around, because, you know, you don't want to compromise that portion of it either.
Yeah.
So, well, how do people find you? Like, how do we find G.I. Jane? Well, actually, hang on. Before I go that route, why G.I. Jane?
G.I. Jane, if you've seen the movie, she's
I didn't want to assume.
Girl, but I think it just
little Demi Moore.
G.I. Jane is just meaning tough, strong, but still, you know, female. You know, still coming from a place of womanness. And before I cut my hair the way I have, my mohawk, I had really long hair. And prior to creating the Janes, when I would do women's groups or small group special, you know, 8-week programs, I tended to call them, you know, Wonder Woman boot camps or, you know, something along those lines. Because I think that's kind of how I identified my long hair.
I'm trying to picture. I've only seen you like this.
I don't think I'll ever grow my hair back out. But I think the gym that I was working with previously when I first built the Janes was a little bit of a military theme because of veteran involvement. And so at the time, you know, G.I. Jane fit that vibe, but it also fit who I was and who women are as warriors,
strong,
and for
resilient,
fighters.
Yeah.
And as part of the logo too, the viper with the delicate roses, that you can be beautiful and delicate and feminine and still tough as nails and capable and empowered and strong. So that's why G.I. Jane.
Cool.
And so the haircut came before, I think the haircut came, or maybe it kind of coincided. It was just like this beautiful
You went full
together
send.
of two different things. Yeah, I was like all the way. And to really sell it, you know.
We have definitely an artsy side.
But that's why G.I. Jane. I think just that strong women empowerment kind of vibe.
Yeah. Cool. Well, how do they find you? I mean, obviously you're a local outfit. Do you do any online stuff, or I think there's obviously, especially in today's age, I mean, online stuff is huge. But how do we find G.I. Jane? How do we find you?
So on social media, if you look up G.I. Jane 636 on Facebook or Instagram, you'll go to our social media pages, and then it's as simple as messaging in or commenting to get more information. But that's how you find me. Just through those social media channels, or we do different events. So if you happen to know a Jane, this weekend we're doing a Bring a Friend event. So if you know a Jane, this is me inviting you for them, and you can come. So Saturday at 9:30 a.m. I'll be doing a workout, very beginner friendly, to help introduce you to the Janes and what that's about, and you know, meet me, see the space and everything. But yeah, finding me on social media would probably be the best way to do that, and just shoot me a message.
Sweet. Anything else?
No, just
anything we haven't covered that you like to cover? Anything you want to say?
I think we've said some really good things today, but just women, if you're listening, I want you to know that you need to be strength training. Building and maintaining muscle on our frame protects our joints. It boosts our mood. It helps us live stronger, healthier lives. And from an inside part, you know, when you make yourself stronger on the outside, it can help bolster some strength on the inside that you may not feel. As women, we deal with a lot. The stress of family, children, relationships, and no matter where you are, I promise you, making your body stronger will make all of that easier. And so if you aren't in a place or a space that is doing that for you, the time is now to start doing that, and having it done in a progressive, safe way. built around who you are individually and where you're starting from. Don't let intimidation of not knowing what to do with barbells, plates, and dumbbells keep you out of the gym. That's what I love about the Janes. I'm offering a private space, women only, to come and be a part of the community, and I will teach you that. So that my favorite thing that I hear about from the Janes is that they were out of town and they went into the gym to keep doing their training because they know what they were supposed to do, and they felt good enough to walk into what they call the guy area and set up their weights. They knew how to do their strategy for their sets of lifts, and it's because I taught them that. And so learning those types of things will be invaluable to you. And so yeah, come in and let me help you with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming and doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll shoot some of this stuff out, and we'll drop a couple links below so you can get in touch with Jena. We're always looking to help her and keep this circle going as far as being in the community of small business and serving people. So hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great rest of your week. See ya.